Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening.
Hi there.
Hi. I'm okay.
Boy, do we have a treat for you today. This episode is about a little-known independent film.
No one's seen it. It's very unheard of.
That has probably slipped under your radar.
Yeah, you've probably never seen it.
You probably never even heard of it.
Right. And once we talk about it, you're going to be like, oh my God, I know nothing about this film. So I'm sorry if we spoil it for you.
Once we talk about it, you'll say, I know nothing about this.
No, I mean, we're going to spoil the ending, even though it's so
true.
niche and no one's ever fucking heard of it ever before in their fucking life. You okay, baby?
That's right. It's Ladybird.
Did you just pull a pin out of your dick?
Yep. Capping.
Was it in your pants, though?
No.
Wow, it literally
wasn't
looked like you reached in there and pulled out a pen.
I reached into... Here's what happened. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I put the pin in this hand.
Oh.
I reached in my pants to adjust my jennies.
Uh-huh.
And then I came out and...
Oh, okay. Bye, y'all. See ya. Before we get started, before we reveal what this independent niche film is...
No, I already said it.
You did?
Ladybird.
Oh, right. I like how if someone is listening to this, they already know what the fucking movie is. So it's like I'm acting like we're about to... Don't forget to subscribe.
Get it, guys? Wink, wink.
Don't forget to check out our Patreon. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/CNKpod. And also go to Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok.
Your pick. Your choice.
Yeah, and follow us on all of those. And our username is ZNKpod because Keith did a great job of picking a username that wasn't going to... I'm like giving you credit and you're like, I'm uncomfortable with you telling... You are giving me such a little bitch face right now. Why are you giving me... What is wrong with you? Girl.
I'm just so excited to talk about Ladybird.
Hold on, I was texting
the biopic about First Lady Ladybird Johnson.
Ladybird Johnson?
Yeah, that was her nickname. Lyndon Johnson's wife.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Do you remember that Venture Brothers bit, Lady Hawk? When the Revenge Society? No.
Huh?
Yeah, it's when the Revenge. No. Well, I can't remember if it's them or the Triad. Anyway, when one of them is holding auditions, and then.
Oh yeah.
She's like, I can only be.
Yeah. And never the twain shall meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I didn't know.
It's a reference to Lady Hawk, the film Lady Hawk.
Uh-huh.
But she's supposed to be Ladybird Johnson. Also, Hank Hill's dog is named Ladybird, if I remember right.
Oh my God. Okay, I didn't know any
they're from Texas, the Johnsons.
Oh my God. Wow.
You're welcome for that history lesson.
Yeah.
In nicknames of First Ladies. One. First Ladies. It's all pertinent to Simulation and Simulacra by Jean Valjean.
I don't know.
Baudelaire.
Okay, obviously we're talking about the Matrix.
Obviously. Oh my God.
Doy. Obviously I was obsessed with this film.
There's not much to this movie, so I don't even have much to say.
Honestly, I'm like, do I want to even do, like, we always do, like, a plot synopsis, but do I even want to do that? Because it's the fucking Matrix. And if you
Not really.
If you haven't fucking seen it, then just pause, watch it, and then listen.
Also,
I don't really have,
yeah.
I don't have the, I should not.
It's not my job to educate you.
Exactly. I mean, if I have to tell you the
even
plot,
though this is a teachable moment.
Like, if I have to fucking tell you what the Matrix is about, I'm going to invoice you for emotion. I sound like I'm making fun of people who do that. That's not. I'm just making fun of the fact that I don't want to describe the Matrix.
Well,
it's a movie where humans get to remove batteries, but they don't.
Yeah, you know, you get it. And, I mean, again, this movie has largely flown under the radar. It has very little influence on philosophical and political discourse since its release in 2017, whenever Ladybird came out.
2017. Okay, but I am going to say this.
I'm saying $21.99.
Obviously, we haven't watched the new Matrix movie because it hasn't come out yet. When this drops, it hasn't come out yet. And obviously, since when this drops...
Is that true? When this drops, it hasn't come out yet?
Yeah, it comes out like 2 days before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So, but also...
That is the reason for the season. That's why we chose to do it now.
So, yeah. Well, I just want to say, I am so fucking excited for The Matrix 4. I am so fucking excited.
I don't know how you do it.
I cannot even describe to you how excited I am. Like, I am like... I love it.
So let's start. Here's a proposal. We don't have to do it. In lieu of talking about the plot, or giving a synopsis, and talk about our personal histories and relations with the franchise.
Will you talk about you go first?
That's fine. I have very little.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying go.
I think I was a little too old to. Well, for this movie to be transformative when I watched it.
Transformative, if you know what I mean.
It's that infernal beatboxing. You kids. That doesn't make sense. As a reference. Yeah, you know. It didn't blow me away. I've never been into things because of cyberpunkness.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not opposed to it as an aesthetic, but, you know, like I've known people who were like, oh, fuck yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, that guy. But not only you. I mean, people my own age.
Yeah.
People for whom it is age appropriate to be into cyberpunk.
Are you saying it's age inappropriate for me to be into cyberpunk?
Yeah. You're way too young. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Whore.
I just mean Gen Xers.
Yeah, whatever.
So, yeah. You know, same with like Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah. Johnny Mnemonic is a little painful. I love Johnny Mnemonic, but the end is it starts going so slow at the end, and it gets painful.
Yeah, despite the action ramping up.
I know. Yeah, you're just like, oh my god, what is this?
Anyway, so that's all. I mean, like, and of course, we've talked about this dynamic, and you have it self-confessed that you have it too. The fact that it was so instantly a phenomenon, I was like, roll.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I guess I'll watch it eventually. That's it. That's all I got for my personal history. I never want to wear leather. I never want to wear dusters. I never want to wear those long coats.
Oh, I see, yeah. Here's the thing. When I was 14 and I watched this for the first time, see, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like I'd seen like the small mini trailers on TV that just like showed like very like the 30-second ones that like don't really even have any dialogue in them. Like the teasers, basically. Yeah. I saw those, but I didn't see like a full trailer for the movie. And like someone was like, oh, this is a cool movie, you should watch it. And when I watched it, I had no idea what the fuck because I was a very sheltered kid. I had no idea what the fuck it was about. So
Ah.
I was like, oh my God. So it blew my mind mainly because
Mhm.
I didn't know anything about it going in. I knew
Yeah, yeah.
nothing about it. I
Right.
had barely seen a trailer for it. So I was like, oh my God. And I remember like being like so completely blown away and just being like, oh my God. And I remember I've told you this. I told my mom about it because I knew my parents would like it because it was rated R, but there weren't any F words, which like I don't know why that's like a big thing. Like if there was like a rated R movie that didn't have nudity or like F words in it, like my parents would like let us watch it. I don't understand. Whatever. um so I'm like, okay, it's rated R. I get that, but I think you'll like it. Like, I didn't know it was rated R because it didn't have anything, like, mainly it just had violence in it. So I didn't, I basically was like, I didn't know it was rated R until after I watched it because it didn't really have anything,
Yeah.
in it. But I was like, you should watch it. And my mom would do this thing, and I don't exactly know why. If she didn't want to watch something, she would say that she knew how it ended already or like she knew what it was about. And then I'd be like, okay, well, what's it about? And then she would bullshit something that had nothing to do with anything. And I'd be like,
Oh,
you're
wow.
so full of it.
That's
I'm
such
like,
a weird.
I know, I don't know. Because she was like, oh, I already know how it ends. Like, it's not going to be like, I'm not going to be blown away by it. And I was like, oh, I was like, well, how do you know how it ends? Like, I was like, how does it end? And then she said something like, it's all aliens or something. And I was like, Mom, I was like, yeah, she just was like, oh, they're really I don't know. She said something that was like very clear that she like had no fucking idea what anything about the movie was about. And I was like, Mom,
We don't.
I was like, no,
Why
none of
done
that
this?
is true. And she's like, oh.
Ow.
I was like, you should watch it. I was like, I think you'd like, and she did. Like, my whole family loves that movie. But like, I obsessed over it, and of course, I wanted to I wanted to have that like aesthetic and like wear all black and look fucking cool. Of course, I was like 14 or 15, so like I was like, no, it didn't look cute. I was just trying to I was like, if Keanu Reeves met me, he would absolutely fall in love with me. So pined for him. What the fuck was I thinking? Now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, I want to look like him. Oh.
Oh.
But like, I thought like it was so cool, like the like long jackets or whatever, and like how. But as I aged, and like the people that were around my age were clearly affected in the same way by the Matrix.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this. It's going to sound really rude, and I guess I don't care. There is like a flavor of like goth that is just embarrassing. Where people think, I feel like they think being goth is literally just wearing black.
Mm-hmm.
And like, not, that's it. Like, as long as they're wearing black clothes, they're goth. And it'll just be like very clearly like 6 different shades of black, but like not in it, and it's like doesn't look interesting. Their outfits are just like the qualifier for their outfits are like, I have to just wear black. Right. And they'll have, and like you realize you're like, the reason why it looked so good in the Matrix is because all of this stuff was like tailor made for them.
Oh yeah,
even though they didn't have like as big a budget as they could have had or whatever, like they use like really like subpar, like really like what do you call it, like bottom shelf like materials. And like made everybody's outfits like from scratch and shit like that. Oh well. Like I think like Neo's jacket was like made out of some sort of, I can't remember what kind of material. I read in the trivia, and it was like $3 a yard or something like that. And like it was like they just sewed it from like nice. It was like none of their stuff was like it wasn't anything that they already had. They literally just made it all, and like it was, and like Carrie-Anne Moss's was like very cheap like PVC like shit or whatever. Yeah. So you're like, oh, it looked good because it was literally made for their bodies. Sure. Like it was like they were measured, and it was like they had costume fittings, and it looks good. But when you see like, yes, Keanu Reeves was like 30s or early 40s when he was Neo. However, when you see someone around that same age dressing as though they are Neo from the Matrix, nothing will make my pussy drier or my dick softer than seeing that. Like, absolutely not. Like, I'm like, there's nothing about that. There's nothing about that I look at and I'm like, oh, that's hot. I'm like, how embarrassing. You are wearing a long, like, when I had the job at the bank,
Mm-hmm.
and remember you took me to work one morning and it was literally like, they were like, that couple was literally dressed like the Matrix. And I was like, this is so embarrassing. I would be embarrassed.
The dude just looked like Martin Starr.
Yeah, he literally looked like Martin
Silicon
Starr
Valley.
stars as the really horrible comedy like satire remake of The Matrix. And you're like, no, this is embarrassing. Like, Keanu Reeves pulled that long coat off and no one has done it since. And I will say, Lawrence Fishburne, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But like, Lawrence Fishburne could continuously pull anything off. Like, he's just brilliant and amazing.
He looks so good in all of Hannibal. I mean, everybody does.
Right. But like, and like, I like kind of forgot about this until we were watching The Matrix.
Uh-huh.
The fight scene in Hannibal.
Yeah. Right.
Is like the hottest fucking fight scene ever. Like his in Hannibal.
Character.
Oh my God. Like Lawrence Fishburne and Mads Mikkelsen fighting in season 2 of Hannibal. Oh my fucking God. Like, that's how the season opens and that's how the season ends. Like, with the same fight scene. It is amazing. Brilliant. Beautiful. Love it. Everything about it. But in The Matrix, he has like a similar fight scene with Hugo Weaving. And I mean, it's not shot the same way, obviously, but like, he's like fighting, like, it's an important scene where he's fighting, you know, the ultimate baddie of the film. And I'm like, yes, he is so fucking good at this. Like, he just looks like such a fucking badass. Right. And he's just so good at like physical, like that kind of, not just like physical activity, but like when he's doing like fight scenes, like Lawrence Fishburne, like literally, I'm like, it's not like a thing where I'm like, oh, I'd be so scared to fight Lawrence Fishburne. Obviously, I would never get in a fight with Lawrence Fishburne. But it's like you watch him and you're like, oh my God, it's like you're dancing. Like, oh my God. Like, it's so fucking badass. Anyway. But yeah. Anyway, I love The Matrix since I was a little tiny child of like 14 or 15 or whatever when I first saw it and I obsessed over it. And
now that you're 18, how do you feel about it?
Barely legal. I still love it. Like, it still holds a lot of charm. I will say this. I did do an edible for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was going to make it more fun for me. And it didn't make it less fun. It's just, I thought it was going to be like, oh, whoa, this is so cool. Like, ha, ha, ha.
Trip out.
No, I was like, so engrossed. Like, that thing had like, you started making jokes at the end and I was just like, don't do this. Like, I like when Mouse dies, I was literally like, I was just like sitting there and I was like, oh my God, I've never felt it as much as I feel it right now. And it was like, everything was like so intense and it was like the most intense, but it wasn't like, oh, it felt so like, so much more dramatic than it's ever felt before. And I was like, oh my God. And it was just like, yeah, it was like, it was wild. I was like, what? Although I do want to read this note that I wrote. At this point, I am stoned. I meant too stoned to continue writing notes. We're at the red dress, and Keith used all the ice. And my handwriting is so abysmal. I was like, my hands are like almost, I was like, oh my God. I was like trying to write that down and I was like, I can't write any more notes. I said, another point, because like when they're, when Morpheus is fighting Neo, Morpheus says like, oh, you know, you're he says, you think that's air you're breathing right now? And And Neo, like, stops hyperventilating or whatever. And I was like, that's so stupid because, like, I'm like, so if he's, like, able to, like, not be out of breath anymore because it's not real, then how come you die in the Matrix? I'm like, okay, I found an inconsistency. And I wrote down in the most, I barely pieced together what it was because this handwriting is, like, right before the red dress happened. So I was, like, very stoned.
Gotcha.
If nothing is real, something, and Neo... I think I said if nothing is real then, and Neo doesn't need air or whatever, then, which I spelled them, why do you die in the Matrix?
Boom.
But it's such a child question. How come them, then Matrix kill you, huh? If air not real, how come die?
Yeah. He died.
This is a question I never, he died. This is a question I never really thought of. When Morpheus, like when Neo, like he tells Neo, like, this is the Matrix, this is what's happening, and Neo, like, has the fucking freak out because Neo's a human being, why wouldn't he? And then he's just, like, basically, like, shut down in his room, not talking to anyone, just, like, laying in bed, like, being, you know, sad boy, hashtag sad boy aesthetic. And Morpheus is like, okay, here's why I pulled you out, because I think you're the one. Like, there was, like, rumor of this one person who's able to control things in the Matrix, can make things happen at his will, blah, 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 and I think that's you. But this is something that's, like, never actually explained. Why do you think it's him? Why? Like, it's never explained. And, like, it kind of doesn't make sense. Why? Because if Neo was doing things that caused them, like, the agents are aware of Neo only because Morpheus is interested in him. Like, they know about him because Morpheus has been watching him and they've done, like, reconnaissance to figure this out. That's what it seems like to me. That's the only, like...
Right, because they're interested in finding Morpheus.
Yes, they're interested. Well, they're interested in fighting Zion.
Well, right.
And they're basically interested in just, like, you know, they don't really care that much about Neo. And they don't really think anything of it. They don't think he's special. They don't think anything of him.
Well, guess what? Because agents don't have feelings.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. Agents don't care about your feelings.
That's fair. Anyway. But if he was doing something to make Morpheus believe, then agents would have seen that too, because they're part of the Matrix and they would have been able to see the weird code happening that whatever directed Morpheus to Neo. So that's an inconsistency that I never noticed before. So anyway, I just ruined this movie for everyone.
Oh my God. You're punching holes in it left and right.
I want to quote you from... you exclaimed, like, the second that Hugo Weaving showed up, you just went, oh, Hugo Weaving is so hot. And just, like, you were just, like, drooling. I loved it. It's so cute.
Wow.
What? It's cute. Because I don't think he's that attractive. Personally. I mean, no offense, Hugo. I know that you're an avid listener, so. I mean, I don't think he's ugly. It's just, like, he doesn't, you know.
Okay. You wouldn't get it on with Elrond?
I what?
You wouldn't get it on with Elrond?
No.
If that's his name?
Yeah. I don't really think anyone from LOTR did it for me. Yeah.
Take that, Gimli.
Oh, you know this scene where Neo's on the building and he has a phone? He's, like, talking on the phone and the wind comes and it knocks the phone out of his hand.
Yeah.
When I was going to that big mega church that I was going to, they used that clip to, like, be like, turn off your phones during service or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When did you go to a mega church?
When I lived in Vegas. I mean, I don't know if it's technically a mega church. It just had, like...
Well, they had...
screens and, like, it had, like, a, like, balcony seating or some shit, and it had, like, 2 stories and a coffee shop in it. So I feel like it's maybe a mega.
Right on.
Yeah.
Close enough.
I really hated going.
Weird.
Anyway, so yeah.
Anyway, The Matrix, am I right?
Yeah, The Matrix. Also, apparently, I mean, this is like IMDb trivia, so a grain of salt. But Switch was like canonically trans, was written to be like like in The Matrix, Switch is a woman, and like, but outside of The Matrix, Switch was like, okay, the actor portraying Switch in the film was supposed to be a woman, and the actor like while she's in the Matrix, and but the actor portraying Switch outside of the Matrix was supposed to be played by a man to make them essentially canonically trans. I mean, that's not what it says, but whatever. That's a trans person. Like their persona is a woman, even though whatever.
Residual self-image.
Yeah. And the studio were like, absolutely not. Which I'm like, what the fuck? That's so fucking weird to me. I mean, it makes kind of sense, but like whatever. Also, I saw. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Why?
Because I'm just like, okay, and
it's fine. Like I said, I don't have a lot to say about
that's okay.
this indie film. I honestly, I do enjoy it.
Yeah, I like
or
it.
I have found. I've allowed myself to enjoy it more each time I've watched it.
Also, I was thinking about something when we were watching it this time, and I was like, wow, there's a lot in this movie that, like, I don't actually know if it would be allowed anymore. Like, when they're like, oh, we're going to go, like, they're shooting cops. They're shooting, like, they're literally, like, talking about, like, going against the system, going against the status quo. They shoot cops. They have, like, a whole, when he's like, we need guns, and it's just, like, there's a whole fucking, like, row of just, like, weapons that they're the, like, it was, like, it's very much, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, now people would be like, oh, my God, that's, like, so, like, this is weird. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's just like a lot. Like this scene, especially where he's like, I don't know, like you pointed it out. It's a cop standing there and they're like, they are our enemy or something like that. Like basically talking about people.
Yeah, I'll drop in the clip, but it's something like,
the Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters. The very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. Yeah,
but he's like, they are our enemy or something like that, but it's like showing a cop as it's doing it. And I was like, oh, and I was like, oh my God, this stuff I don't think would be allowed anymore. And I don't mean that in the sense
right
of like,
now.
Yes. And and I'm not saying that. And I don't mean it like in any media. I just mean like in a film. Mm-hmm. Like, because on TV, they'd be able to do something like that because they could just be like, oh, we'll cancel it if no one likes it or like whatever if it's not. And they can be like, oh, but like I feel like in movies, I feel like especially since like September 11th, like movies got like very much like it's like you couldn't say a cop was the enemy. You'd have to be like, there are like you would have to like imply that like people outside of the U.S. were your enemy, like you know, like the fucking Tomorrow War when they're like that shit that was like literally being like xenophobia is the right decision, and you're like what? Anyway, maybe I'm wrong.
I was thinking of more recently. Also, as previously stated, this movie has had no influence on political discourse.
Yeah.
Also, Columbine.
Mm-hmm.
Was that
Columbine happened before this.
Okay. If so, very brief, but very shortly.
I think Columbine was like 97, 98.
No, it was 99. I just looked it up, but it was in April.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know when this came out, but what time of year, but...
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I just remember that, like, you couldn't... Kids weren't allowed to wear trench coats in schools after Columbine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When did this come out?
March 31st.
Oh, shit. Yeah. March 31st. Wow. Also, yeah. Wow, really? 99. I guess that makes sense. I thought it was a lot earlier than that. But that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of things that this movie implies.
Yeah.
That I don't think, like, it could be shown, but the same implications couldn't be like spoken along with them.
Wait, say that again, please.
They could still show these things, like they could still film these same scenes, but the implications would have to be changed.
Oh, I see what
you know what I mean. Like they would have to be like, oh, we like they would have to like
it would be you'd have to have Zack Snyder direct it.
Yeah, really. Someone would be named Martha. Okay, this also, this scene where Neo wakes up and he's like in the pod.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets like dumped out into like poop water or something like that. When he's like he literally gets aborted.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like falls down the piping or whatever, the tube falls into the water. There's very clearly something covering his crotch.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't look like flesh. It doesn't look like he's just wearing like a full body. It's like gray. It's like looks like almost like machinery, and I'm like, "Oh my god. Does that mean
Robodick.
But does that mean that like the implication is that like if you're
just getting sucked off in the Matrix pod?
No, but you don't have, because like there's no actual need for you to like do any of this stuff. Like people aren't born, they're grown kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
like you don't have genitals? Is that what you're implying?
Yeah. But not even necessarily like you don't. Yeah, like they have all these plugs and all these things put into them.
Mm-hmm.
So that implies that they're like genetically made with.
It might just be a catheter.
Right. But like that might be, I mean, obviously there's like a poop dupe device in there as well. And
I don't think that means what you think it means. It's very confusing. I have always had this problem, and I'm saying this is on me. We can say why the film doesn't do a good job you can make arguments.
Yeah, for sure.
The world of not the Matrix, the real world.
Yeah.
Of Morpheus and his crew. It's very confusing to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're underground. There's tentacle robots that hunt for people who escape unplugged from the Matrix and looking for Zion. And I don't know. No, I always forget about that part. Also, I forget all the stuff about like
Squiddies.
Yeah, and of Neo getting unplugged and everything. I never retain that. That never sticks in my brain, and
okay, so Neo
despite it being like a huge part of
Yeah. When Neo gets unplugged though, like they like take him and they like basically they're like nursing him like to health or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like, I kind of love it because he's just like laying on a table and he's just like his whole body is just stuck with like needles and they're just like zapping him with electricity to try to like get his muscles to work. And he's like, but like Neo wakes up in the middle of it and he says, "Why do my eyes hurt?" And the way Lawrence Fishburne delivers this line, he looks like he's about to cry. He says, "You've never used them before." But he looks so like, "I'm sorry." Like that line is delivered so well. And it's one of my favorite like parts of the movie. And like, I was like, I don't know why I love this so much, but we were watching it. I'm like, oh yeah, because Lawrence Fishburne acts that like one line at a fucking 10. Like he's just like, you know what? It's one line that I'm saying in this whole, I'm going to act it like and I was like, oh my God, he's so good. I fucking love Lawrence Fishburne. It's
also about he's never seen before.
True. Yeah. Right. But like imagine like he's saying that like you've never used your eyes before, and he's just like, like, oh, why do my eyes hurt? And he's like, you've never used them before, but like that doesn't clarify much.
Right.
What is that? What do you mean? What are you saying? Like, I don't,
Well, it also it's done because it brings up also his muscles.
Oh, right.
Brings
Yeah.
up like, okay, if humans have been bred this way for however long, well, why do they still have parts that they don't need? I know evolution takes a long time, not 100 years.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
still.
You just answered the question though. It's the question that drives us. This is my opinion and has been since the first time I watched it. This will never change. I haven't seen The Matrix 4, so I don't know if they do anything with this in The Matrix 4. They probably don't, but whatever, who cares? I'm just excited to watch it. I literally don't care what happens, like as long as I get to see Carrie-Anne Moss as a hot middle-aged lady and Keanu Reeves as the perfect specimen of the perfect specimen of a human. As long as I get to see them, I literally don't care. I'm like, I hope they kiss or something like that, or like, I don't know, maybe she'll have like a boob pop out or something. I don't know. I'm excited for it. However, the first time I watched the movie, the scene where the helicopter is crashing.
Oh, yeah.
And like, cause they're like, Neo's the one. And then he goes to the Oracle and the Oracle says, oh, sorry, kid.
JK.
You're not the one. Like, you're waiting for something. And he's like, what am I waiting for? And she's like, I don't know. I mean, she says, another life, maybe. Oh, get it? Cause whatever. Anyway. So she tells him he's not the one, and he starts to proceed as though he's not. And the scene, the helicopter's crashing, and Neo has like a harness connecting himself to the helicopter, and he's like on. If you've never seen this, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's on the roof. He's been, his heart like dangling from the harness from the helicopter. He's on a roof, and the helicopter's crashing, and he's like has a realization that Trinity's still in the helicopter. And so he holds on to the harness and she jumps out of the fucking helicopter and like she like shoots the harness off, or like she like removes the harness, and then she just fucking full on jumps out of the helicopter. And I was like, oh, Trinity's the one. That's what I was like, oh shit, she's the one. That's what all this is about. Like, it's not Neo at all. It's been her the whole time. No, Neo's the one. And I fully believe. I'm like, no, Trinity is just as much of a badass.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that Neo can do is like move or whatever fast. I'm like, no, Trinity is so much more of a badass than Neo. Trinity like kicks so much more ass. 100%.
Well, also don't they say, isn't it, if not said overtly, isn't it implied that Morpheus sought her out thinking she was the one?
No, I don't
before Neo?
I don't know. I don't know if that's true, cuz it's not actually. I was thinking about that cuz I kind of just assumed that, but then I realized this watch through, I'm like, "Oh, that's never said." Like, yeah.
I thought you had told me that was also the case in the early script or something.
No.
Yeah.
I wish, but it might have been one of the things you watched. Yeah, I don't.
No.
So when Cypher is talking to her on the phone, it wasn't until like the time before like I watched this movie like last year. I'm not kidding. This is one of my all-time favorite movies.
No one believes you.
I know. Especially now with how animated I've gotten about this movie. There's like 100 things that I wanted to say that I have not said already. And I'll let it go. So I didn't realize that this is what he said until probably like the last time, not 2 nights ago, but like the last year when I watched it. So Cypher says, like when he's like on the phone with Trinity and he's about to he kills APOC and Switch and he's about to kill Neo, and he's like, you never told me what you believe. Like, he was like, you.
Oh.
He was like, he says.
You never did answer me before. If you bought into Morpheus's bullshit.
But I mean, I honestly should. I watched it on VHS, so their like subtitles weren't available for me. But I eventually, once DVD was available, I was absolutely gifted this on DVD. So I should have should have watched the subtitles because I thought he said, "You never told me," and I didn't understand what he was referencing. I thought, yeah. Because I thought he said, "You never told me when you brought him Morpheus's bowl of soup."
Oh my God.
And I was like, wait, because like there's a scene where she brings him food after he's been fine. I was like, what is it? Oh, Morpheus's bowl of soup.
It's a love seat.
I have one more thing to say. So, the Wachowski sisters were sued.
Karen and Brenda
Were sued by...
That's a joke about their whiteness, not about their
I know.
transness.
No. I think that's fair because Karen and Brenda are very, like, white lady names. I think that's fair. They were sued by a woman for like stealing her.
I mean, who hasn't been?
And
what a litigious bunch. Women.
I had heard like it apparently is a very like common rumor on the internet that they completely lost and had to pay like tons in damages or like tons of money to this woman, and they lost like billions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
There's this rumor. It never happened.
Oh.
Like she sued them and they never found any evidence. Like she never was able to provide any evidence that her claims were truthful at all. Like she was like, they stole it from a treatment I wrote.
Okay.
Or something like that. But like, I don't think she ever even presented her treatment to like court.
I see.
And like any time, like on the like supposedly on the day where she was supposed to bring her evidence to court, she just never showed up.
Oh.
She says that's a lie and that never happened. And she also is like has like all this stuff where she says like it's not true. She did win, but the Wachowskis refused to pay, which I'm like, I don't think that that's true. Like, but from what I understand, what I read was correct, she actually lost and was ordered to pay damages because that's what happens.
Yeah,
and they never collected.
I see.
Right. So like the Wachowskis never asked money from her.
I see.
Like they never collected on like what was, which I think that happens a lot of times. Like people don't necessarily, which I shouldn't say a lot of times, but I've heard that happening before where like someone will get sued for like, or like they'll sue someone, they'll lose, and then they'll be asked to pay money, but then like they never end up actually having to pay it or something. But it's still like fucks up everything. Like it's not great. Like it's not, I'm not like, so it's fine if you like have to pay. It's no big deal. That's not what I mean. I just mean like, I don't necessarily think it's that uncommon that she didn't have to pay. But again, I could be talking out of my ass. I've heard, whatever. You're looking.
Do your own research.
So,
we're not an informational podcast.
It's true. We're just a podcast where we fart.
This is not
and burp.
edutainment. I also wrote this is the film Chris Nolan has been trying to make.
Yeah, pretty much.
Since it came out.
That's accurate. Yeah.
But now my updated, when they remake it, it's going to be Zack Snyder.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Okay, serious question.
Yes.
Because I just watched an awesome video essay. It's came out relatively recently by Melina Pendulum is the channel name. About magical Negros in Stephen King works.
Uh-huh.
Great video. I'll link to it. Morpheus and the Oracle, are they magical Negroes?
The Oracle. But I don't think Morpheus is because
It's complicated, I'd say, if no other reason than, I mean, I don't think any character's ethnicity is overtly referenced.
Correct.
However, most of the actors are not white or, of mixed.
Correct. Yeah. It's never, yeah. I think, personally, I don't think the Wachowskis do the best job in that. Hashtag Cloud Atlas. Hashtag Blackface, Yellowface.
I don't know from Cloud Atlas, so.
Cloud Atlas is where they tell a story that spans over like
I didn't realize it was a Wachowski.
it is, yes.
Wachowski? How do you say it?
Wachowski. I say Wachowski because I believe that's how people will say Wachowski, or like they'll say it very weird, but I've always heard it Wachowski, and yeah.
Okay.
So whatever.
I will defer to you.
Lily or Lana, if it's pronounced a different way, call me on the phone and tell me yourself. I will answer your call. That's a lie. Just DM me on Twitter. I follow Lily Wachowski on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't follow me, but that's okay. One day she will, and I have faith in that, and that's all I need.
Manifest.
Exactly. I'm putting it out there into the world. Lily Wachowski.
You think that's air you're tweeting right now?
Anyway.
Makes no sense.
They do a lot of, I almost feel, like they do stuff where like, especially like the, it is an interesting thing. A lot of like, all of the agents are like white, and all of the evil like characters are white, and a lot of times white men.
Well, later on you get the architect too, right?
Who is a white man. And when you go to Zion, people are just like, it's just, you're whatever. Like, there's no...
It's a fucking free-for-all.
Yeah, essentially, like, it's just like, yeah. And like...
Burn through the witches,
Keanu Reeves is not white, he's white passing in a sense, I guess. But, like, he's not white.
Carrie-Anne Moss is Canadian.
I just feel so bad for what they did to her hair in this movie. Like, it's just so greasy looking all the time. And I'm like, you could have, like, I don't know, not greased it up. It's just like, I don't know.
She's
hot as fuck. Yeah. Okay, she's hot as fuck.
What are you complaining about?
I just don't like that, like, greasy hair look. I don't enjoy it. I'm just saying. Yeah, so I think it's like, the Oracle is definitely one of them, but like they do have like Tank and Dozer and APOC and Morpheus, but they are like ancillary characters. They're not like Morpheus is a main character.
Yeah,
but like it's one of those things where like I don't. Yeah, it's like I think it's like something where like I think it's something where they can do better and they should do better.
Yes,
but that's it. But in the sequels, like there's like Jada Pinkett Smith and like there's a bunch of like people of color added to the repertoire,
Okay.
So but again, they're not. Not all of them are like main characters, but like they do a lot of stuff where it's like a lot of like. I don't know. I just think like I have like an appreciation for this because I feel like there is I feel like it's very close to the thing you were talking about, like with the Cinderella thing where it's like they don't actually cast.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't like they don't cast a character based on like because Neo, like they wanted like Will Smith to play Neo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they are like he was one of the people. So like they didn't they weren't literally casting. They weren't literally looking for like white men or like white looking men to play Neo. They had like other. So like there is a sense of like we don't really care. Like
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 yeah, right.
So
that-
but I'm not saying that it's like, oh my God, they're perfect. They can do nothing
No,
wrong.
of
They
course.
definitely have like some issues with like some stuff that they've done.
Well, one of them at least had for a while white dreads, as a person in real life.
Who?
One of the Wachowskis.
Oh, you mean Lana?
Yeah, I don't know
She
which.
just has.
I can't tell them apart.
She pretty much was. But I will say this: the evil people, like there are evil people in the sequels, and they're white people with dreads. So
Perfect. I don't know what this is in reference to. But I have a note here that's a quote of you saying, "I knew it was gonna happen because the pink stopped."
what?
No clue. I don't know if it was about something that happened in this movie or another movie.
I knew
or
it was gonna happen. I'm trying to think because the pink stopped.
Oh, was it about the light going out? Did I have the little?
Wait. Oh yes. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. It was like the little like whirling, twirling lights that you have, and like the pink went out and it was just blue and then it turned off. Okay, yeah. Wow. I would never have. I was like literally trying to think of like a part in the Matrix when like the color pink is even seen.
Yeah. Oh, right. There's none. Another scene from real life I try to transcribe here. It says, K, meaning me, index finger outstretched, finger touch initiated by Z. Keith, quote, who farted? Z, quote, nothing.
That's when the drugs started to hit. And and I like didn't really realize it yet, and you put your finger out and I touched your finger and you said who farted, and I was like nothing. Like, cuz I was like, well, I don't even know. I was just like, no, I'm good. Like, I didn't fart. I don't fucking know. Nothing. What? Like, I have been able, like,
Anyone who hasn't unplugged is a potential agent.
Yeah.
And thus our enemy or whatever.
Yeah. That's when the cop.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And thus our enemy. And the cop's just looking at them. I'm like, fucking yes. Love it. I
didn't yet point out that Neo's his name in the Matrix is Paul Thomas Anderson.
It's just Thomas Anderson.
Thomas A. Anderson, actually.
Oh. Thomas Ass Anderson. Tom Ass Ass.
That's a Thomas Ass Anderson right there. I like that they have in there Cypher's little arc.
Oh God, I love it.
And that's really good.
I love when he's.
You love Joey Pants.
Jo-
Also, his name is Cypher, which, you know, is the thing that helps you decode a code.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've heard it used as like what you call a character who's meant to be the audience proxy.
Oh, what do you
meaning like they're the person you relate to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
What were you signing at me?
No, I think I was.
Okay. Just making sure you weren't trying to tell me something.
No. Start the car.
Like it's two motorcycles?
Like it's two keys.
Okay.
Double ignition.
Philosophically, the things that are referenced are Plato's cave allegory or whatever the fuck that's called. And then I guess they specifically, the Wachowskis, were reading Baudrillard, who I guess later said that they got it wrong. Like they misinterpreted him.
That's cool.
I'll link to a video I watched. I thought it did a good job. If you're interested, if not, that's totally fine. It does a good job of
There was one
talking about those two things, and he also throws in Marx, which I appreciated, of course.
There was one thing that you were watching, and I kept laughing at it because one of the things they said was like, I just walked in when he was like, so some might say that the Matrix is actually more enjoyable than the real world. I'm like, some might say? There's nothing about the real world that's enjoyable. Like, that's the whole point, is that everything got so, like, it's literally like slavery and like almost like war and death. Like, why? Some might say. Like, what? That made me laugh.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was really funny. I can't remember other things, but I just kept it was like very obvious.
And
I'm not saying like I just watched a little bit of it. Like I'm not saying like whether the video was like shitty or not. I just mean that made me laugh. Just the way it was said, like it was like it was revealing something.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Shockingly, I didn't think this would ever be the case. Rewatching this, I am now curious to rewatch the sequels.
I always get curious. Okay, I feel bad because I've heard people be like, "Oh, the sequels are actually good," and I
thought they were pretty universally despised.
I don't think it's universal. I think it's like people didn't like them as much. I think they do a lot. I mean, I was like, oh no,
it definitely seemed to muddy the water philosophically.
When I found out there was going to be a fourth, I was like, oh, I'm going to rewatch these because like one of the reasons why I didn't like it was I didn't like the finalization of it. I didn't like what they did as a finalization. And I was like, oh, I'm going to rewatch it knowing that it's going to continue. Like, I was like, maybe that'll change no, I don't enjoy them. I just don't like them. Like, I just think they do a lot. Again, it does a thing where like fucking Trinity is right there with Neo doing the same shit he's doing, being such a badass. There's this scene where she's literally fighting an agent. Oh god, it's one of the fucking hottest. I mean, oh my god, I love that scene. She's just getting like decked in the face by an agent and she's just like, what? Like, it's so fucking hot. Like, she's just kicking their ass and she looks amazing.
Guys, I would never hit a woman, just so you know. Or someone wearing glasses.
And she's just like so. Oh god, it's such.
Or someone who has like a disability.
Anyway, are you referencing that TikTok?
No,
I don't know what you're referencing.
TikTok. Anyway.
So anyway, yeah, and she's just like right there with him, and like she's just. Like, she's fighting an agent. She's doing all this shit. And it's like, Trinity's just like everyone else, I guess. And I'm like, no, she's such a fucking badass. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
I don't like that. That's the one thing. Wachowskis.
Yeah,
girls,
it's confusing.
Answer me, girls. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Also, I got really happy. Like, when Lana came out, I was like, oh. But when Lily came out, I was like, oh my god. I don't know why.
Okay.
I just got really happy about that.
Noted.
Mainly because I was like, I love that, I don't know, that they're both able to like live their truth.
Amen.
Hashtag goals. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, there's just so much. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go on.
No, I was just going to say there's so much about the sequels that just fall flat.
Oh, yeah. I just remember being bored.
Yeah.
But,
also,
it was a long time ago.
Also, they do this thing, and I never enjoy this in any film, any type of, any genre, anything like that.
Never, ever, for any reason.
Like, the second movie is it's like, so much of it is like a battle.
Oh,
like the Zion and the battles. I fucking get so, I don't want to see that.
Siege.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to watch this. I don't want to see people just like fighting and 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 fight. I don't care. I don't.
Is it the third one where there's just, I feel like there's multiple scenes where Neo fights just like seas of Agent Smiths?
That's the first one, I think, and I hated that. Sorry, the first sequel.
I see.
Number 2.
Sorry.
Where like
It
yeah,
just pans. It's like a
100 Agent Smiths. No, it does not look. They were like, we had to create. They're like, once again, we are pioneering, and we had to create this, like,
suck it, Chris
like,
Nolan.
yeah. They're like, we had to create the software because it wasn't available. Like, we had to create this so that it could be done. And I was like, did you think maybe not to do that? Like, maybe don't.
We
do
never
that.
stopped to wonder if we should play
Exactly.
God.
And that was something that was like really hard for me because like the Matrix looks so cool and
It
like
does.
in
It
a
really
lot of ways
looks
it's
good.
like very crisp and it like holds
Yeah,
up
it
and
really
it was
does.
like it
I was
really
surprised.
really did revolutionize like in the
Oh yeah.
like it I like read like trivia like it by like the year like by the end of the or like I don't know by like in a year's time I think like 20 separate films had like
Copied that.
yeah
The
like,
rotating camera thing.
mm-hmm.
Or rotating angle.
And like I think it like also
360.
changed how slow motion was shot and like it made it like acceptable because I fucking hate like 90s slow motion so much because it's not done well. It just changed a lot of things and like it was really really revolutionary and I think they wanted to do something similar, which I understand. They wanted to carry on that like but like in the end being like okay, Neo and Trinity die, and I'm like, what? And like what I thought was going to happen, and I think this would have been really cool. The first movie ends with Neo like putting out his hand and like stopping a squiddy in the real world. He like puts out his hand and the squiddy like he like destroys the squiddy in the real world.
Right.
And then the first movie like ends and I was like, oh my God, this is the Matrix 2. Because in the first movie, he says, we tried to create a perfect world for you, but that wasn't enough. You needed to have conflict. You needed to have all of this stuff happening for you to believe that it was real. And I'm like, they created a secondary Matrix so that people would, if they felt like something wasn't right, and they woke up out of the Matrix, they were like, oh, this makes sense. And if any unease that they feel, it's because they're used to the Matrix. Like, it would explain, and they're still hooked up. There's still a battery. There's still all this stuff, but they are being protected. And I was like, oh, my God, they're going to, like, wake up for real, and that's how it's going to end. Like, they're all, like, actually waking up and, like, realizing that they were, like, they just thought that they were, like, free or that they weren't.
Which is kind of what happens, right? In the sequels?
No, what happens is...
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, what happens is Neo and the machines come to an impasse and they agree to stop fighting each other.
Yeah, right.
And that's how it ends. And they're like, they just say #truce. And then Neo just like fucking dies. And that's it.
Right.
And I mean, like, they ask him, they basically.
But they do the thing of when he meets the architect, that he's not the first iteration of the one.
Yeah, basically.
Right?
Yeah, but they create that. But yeah, it was just like, it didn't make a lot of sense either because, again, that only made sense. Like, it doesn't make sense if Neo's actually a human in the real world, because I'm like, how do you make a program out of someone that's real? Because they're like, oh yeah, they basically said that what they do is, and again, this doesn't make a lot of sense, is they basically find Zion, destroy it completely, and then start from scratch. And I'm like, then how are humans?
Period.
Yeah. How are they like, born in the real world, from the real world? How is all that something that happens?
Uh-huh.
So like there was a lot of holes in it. I feel like there was a lot of stuff that like didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's so many things where it was disappointing. It fell flat. I don't think it was. I think it would have been cool to do like, again, to make it to where all of these things that are happening, all of these things that like you can't explain, or like any issues, any plot holes, are like, okay, well, the real world wasn't actually real anyway. It was just another layer of the Matrix. And like you have to actually wake up in like you have to wake up more than once. You have to continue fighting to get out of it. And that would have been like, whoa, that would have been like, oh my God, crazy. But instead they were like, instead what we're going to do is Agent Smith is the real bad guy. Because like Agent Smith like detaches from like because Neo at the end of the Matrix destroys Agent Smith.
Oh.
But that doesn't destroy him. It just like basically like he becomes a like more like a virus within the Matrix, and then he starts like doing things to cause issues for the Matrix itself as well as for Neo and everything like that. And then so when Neo finds like the fucking middle of I don't know the headquarters for AI or whatever, they're like, We'll agree to not destroy Zion if you agree to fight Agent Smith. And then he fights Agent Smith, and then and then he dies from like destroying Agent Smith. And they have this stupid like air punch where they just like fly at each other, basically that Adventure Time punch. Totally. They do that, and it's like like
Anyway. Yes.
And the first one is better than the second one. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I just have like two things I want to say.
Please.
And then we can stop. Or you can continue, and that's fine too.
Please say them.
Okay. One is, I said this before we watched it. And I take issue with Messiah type characters.
Oh, right, yeah.
When it's if you're trying to do something that's sort of like emancipatory, which I think is the goal or the intended message of
correct, yes.
The Matrix as a franchise, or at least with the first one. I don't like, and the movie's littered with biblical references, if nothing else.
Yeah.
The ship is the Nebuchadnezzar, Zion,
right. Yeah.
so forth. Trinity.
Neo is an anagram for one.
Also Eno. So
yeah, exactly.
We're gonna do.
Right.
Eon. I mean, it doesn't end.
Agent Smith is like a code for when you're talking about God.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. That's true.
I always heard it as for doing a number 2 / marijuana.
Oh yeah.
Are you holding any Agent Smith right now?
Yes, I have poop in my hand.
So, and I think they kind of play with it.
Yeah, for
because of how it goes with the Oracle. However, I mean, like they kind of undermine, like.
Real quick, I want to say this about the Oracle. I didn't know this until I saw like a meme. She makes him take a cookie. He has to accept a cookie.
Okay, well, that's probably just anomalous. Like,
I mean, probably, but it's stupid. I was so annoyed when I saw that. I was like, fuck off. Oh my God.
He doesn't accept all cookies.
Just the one that the Oracle. Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you. That's good.
There's so much of this that I give you permission to cut out.
Thank you.
Anything I'm saying.
Thank you. Okay, it's just going to be me. It's going to be the one episode where it's just me talking. And so it's going to be 10 minutes long. Just kidding. It won't be that long. So, yeah, I don't like bringing something into the present and where you put all your hope on one person. That's not different enough than how people act in the present, and I think it leads to a lot of problems.
Yeah, for sure.
Not to go too hard, but I mean, we depend too much on. We expect a politician to get elected who's going to make everything better.
Yeah, but no.
Which clearly is not the case, and is designed to not be the case.
Correct. Yeah. It's part of the system.
Yeah, exactly. So, right.
Yeah, it doesn't challenge.
I just wanted to comment on
It's not actually
that.
challenging the status quo. It's not actually challenging the system that's put forth to, like, oppress you.
Right.
It's not. You're not doing enough to challenge that concept by having, like, one white-looking dude be the savior.
Even if he's not white, like, why's
I
it got to
know,
be
I know.
one
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
person?
yeah.
Also,
Like, it's problematic either way, because if it's white, if it's a white person, then, like, yeah, that's a big red flag. But if it's not, it's also like, don't put all your,
eggs
it's
in
like,
one basket.
no, like, no, but don't put, like, the thing of, like, black women will save us, kind of shit, where it's like, as a white person, you won't have to do work because all the people of color are going to fight the battles for you.
Right.
Like, it's still, like, either way you do that, like, singular person is going to save everyone, you're still essentially, like, however it goes, you're holding up some kind of trope that's bad. And you're not challenging anything,
It's also counter. There's just so many. I mean, it's just clearly flawed as a. I don't know.
Oh, it's fine.
It's confused messaging.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
in the case of this movie, because you've got these religious references and a Messiah-like figure, or you've got all these references so that you're thinking of them as a Messiah-like
Yeah.
character and a savior. I don't know. Oh, one of the things about the Messiah, right, is that they have to get martyred, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true in Judaism, but as Christians,
Yeah.
that's the allegory, right?
Mm-hmm. But also would have meant a lot more if, like, Neo was like, oh, I just, like, woke up to the Matrix, and he was like, here's how to do it. And then everyone else got to do the same thing. And then he was just, like, sharing something with everyone.
Right.
And then everyone was becoming strong. And then,
Right.
like, why couldn't that be the case?
And I think it's also, like, American rugged individualism is such a stupid thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And in Western media, as a result.
Oh, yeah.
And it undermines collectivism.
Right.
Which
and
nobody's...
community and, like, all of these things.
Nobody's going to do it by themselves. I don't care
No.
how fucking
for sure.
many powers you have.
Right.
I mean, you either... Anyway, I don't need to go down that path any further, but... Don't bring it up if you're not going to undermine it or do something different with it. Which they don't really in any significant way.
Right.
I don't feel like. At least in the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's all I got.
Yeah, I think the only thing I didn't do in this episode that I was planning to do was just quote every single line of the movie.
For the episode?
Yeah.
During the episode?
Yes. Because I just know, so I've, like, watched it since I was a teenager.
Well, you can just say them and then I'll go back and place them in.
I just like
randomly.
One of my favorite lines is when at the very beginning when Trinity has that fight. I remember, like, when I watched it, like, I had no idea what was going on, and, like, the fight.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say.
The first fight that Trinity has, like, just being like, this is, like, the most insane shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And being like, because it seems like it's, like, so intense. And I don't want to say super violent, but I feel like for the time, like, it was, like, super violent. Like, she's just, like, literally, it's a bunch of male cops and, like, one woman. And they're like, oh, yeah, we can take down. Like, he's like, oh, I think we
got
can
it.
handle
And
one
he's like,
little girl.
Your officers are already dead.
Yeah. He's like.
Sorry, is that what you were going to do?
Well, no. He says. He's like, like, he says, if you give me any of that Juris my diction crap, you can cram it up your ass. But he says, like, I sent 2 units. He's like, I sent 2 units. They're bringing her down now. No, Lieutenant, your men are already dead. But then, like, it's this whole, like, it's like 8 dudes or something.
Yeah.
And they, like, have guns, and they're, like, screaming at her, trying to pretend like they're American, and definitely sound like New Zealand. So many American accents in this, and I'm like, And she just like just knocks them like. You don't see anyone, like, again, this is me saying Trinity would make sense as the one. You don't see anyone else having those kinds of things except for Neo. Like, Neo's the only person that, like, Morpheus doesn't go slow-mo. Like, none of that. It's only Trinity and Neo. And I'm like, son of a bitch. Ugh, anyway.
It's going to turn out that they're brother and sister.
That's fine. Just add that to my list of kinks.
Yeah, this watch through, I had a lot bigger appreciation for the fight scenes and the choreography and all the action.
Yeah.
Like, and I watched another video recently. There was this, like, somebody saying, like, here's a list of sci-fi movies. And this was on there. And they talked about the big fight scene after they get a lot of guns.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he was like, it's really well done. You never get lost about... You're able to track where people are in the room, and you know where the camera is in the room in relation to them. And I'm like, oh, yes, that's true. I mean, definitely props to, that sequence specifically. But I'm like, yes, thank you for talking about that phenomenon, because that's one of my biggest beefs about fight scenes in the last 20 years or more. You can't tell what the fuck is going on, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Is what they're telling you.
Yeah.
Because, the way they're edited and shot, and I feel bad for the actors, because I've also seen behind the scenes stuff where they're learning choreography.
Oh, yeah.
And they're doing the moves and stuff, but you can't fucking tell from the finished product.
I hate modern fight scenes because they're so fast edited, and like so many like zoom shots and so many things. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's landing a hit. I have no idea.
Those are things done to hide the fact that you don't usually. Yeah. Often, I'll say. You do tricks with editing and lighting and whatever to hide the fact that you don't have the budget for the CG or the whatever else. But like, that's clearly not the case in a fucking Marvel movie. Mm-hmm. So why are you editing it that way?
Yeah.
All right. I'm off the soapbox.
That's fine. No, I agree. I feel like there's a realism to, even though they use like some special effects, there is so much realism. And I think that's another reason why the second and third one disappointed me. Yeah. Because there's so much CG used in the fight scenes. And I'm like, no. This is totally undermining the whole point, and like how like beautiful the film like The Matrix was, because it was all real, because like all their stuff, like any like special effects that was used was just to like blend the background so that you didn't see the cameras or you didn't see the wires, but like the people were there, like it was real time. And like
the fucking somersault he does.
Oh, I know.
Or that cartwheel.
Yeah.
With the handless cartwheel.
Oh God, I love it.
Both the big fight scene and also the one that you were referring to with Trinity. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that makes it feel so tangible is all the shit that breaks. Like, people are getting slammed into walls.
I know. Oh,
There's
God,
so much tile, and then the shootout, it's all marble falling all over the place. Yeah. Like, it's really, you feel that, right?
And when, like, the scene with Morpheus and Agent Smith, when they're in the fucking, like, bathroom, and he just like punches Morpheus, and Morpheus falls, and like the sink shatters and shit like that. Yes. And it's just like this intense shit. And it's like oh God. And I love that scene mostly because of all the fucking noises that Lawrence Fishburne makes. And I like that because you don't hear Smith making noises, but you hear Morpheus making noises, which is the implication is that one of them is human and one of them is not.
Yeah, nice.
And it like adds to that. And there's just so much art.
That's good.
There's so much artistry in it. And anyway, The Matrix is it's good. Like, even like plot wise, whatever. Like, you don't have to be like.
No, honestly,
but, like,
it held up better than I expected.
It is a gorgeous movie.
Yeah. It's probably their best film.
Well, you haven't seen Bound, so.
That's true, but I have seen Jupiter Ascending.
You haven't seen Cloud Atlas either. We should watch Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas has lots of problems.
Great. I don't know how true this is. It was in the trivia that they they sought out a specific Hong Kong cinema choreographer peeing somebody.
Well, oh shit.
And
Yen Wo Ping or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I love this. He
Eh,
didn't want to do it, and
right.
they kept he kept making like ridiculous demands so that they would like give up, and they like agreed to everything.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Fuck."
First, he asked for like an insane amount of money,
Yeah,
and they
and
were
they're
like,
like,
okay.
"Deal."
And then he was like, I want complete control over
Yeah,
everything.
and they're like, "That works for
okay.
us." I read something. I read a trivia, which I don't think is very true. Like, I think it was true. Like, I've seen the behind the scenes. So, and there's like a behind the scenes where like Keanu Reeves had like a neck brace on, and apparently he had like he had like an injury, to his spine or something that was causing his paralysis. So he had to undergo like spinal surgery or something like that.
Wu
Or, like-
Ping Yuen.
Yeah, Wu Ping. Yeah.
Sorry.
And he had surgery like right before they had to do training. And the trivia said that he at first he wasn't like he like insisted on doing training anyway, and they like Wu Ping refused to let him do like anything physical. He would just like he had punches that he would do. And he didn't like let him like it took like at first like the first like month or two. I think they like trained for like 4 months or something like that. Like the first couple months he only did like punches and stuff like that because he was like he insisted on training, but also Wu Ping was like, yeah, no. So but the trivia said that's why he doesn't use very many kicks in any of the fight scenes. And so I was like watching it, and like everything he does is a kick. Like he does so many fucking kicks, and I was like, that's not okay, so that's not accurate. But I do believe he had
No, he doesn't. He only kicked in one movie.
But literally like everything is just like him kicking Agent Smith and him like kicking and like doing all these flips, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's true. That doesn't ring true. I mean, but I do believe he had like a spinal injury and had surgery, because I've seen like the behind the scenes where he had like a neck brace for like a lot of it. And yeah, because I was obsessed with this movie to the point that I memorized the movie and also memorized the behind the scenes.
Can you give us a quote from the
There
behind the
is a
scenes?
scene where Keanu Reeves is holding like a square, like there's like a square of PVC, like a 3D square made out of PVC piping, and he has it around him, and he says, "Nowhere in nature."
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's
Also, there's a scene where they're fighting in the lobby, and he's supposed to like he's hiding while he's getting shot at, and then he like stands up and runs out and he's shooting everyone. And I think it's one of the scenes where he like does the one hand flip.
Yeah.
When he like the shots are happening, and when he goes to stand up to like run, he just
eat shit.
fucking eats shit immediately. Love that. Anyway, yeah. I remember my friend when I was growing up.
Wake up!
Wow. My friend, when I was growing up, we would, like, we obsessed over it together. We obsessed over the movie together. And we're not friends anymore because she's super transphobic.
Somebody didn't wake up.
So, but yeah, we used to act out him falling. We thought it was really funny, so we would try to do impressions of it, like act it out, because we thought it was really funny.
That's great. Thanks for that.
Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I won't be talking anymore about the Matrix until the next time we decide to do something on the Matrix.
Next up, the Animatrix.
I've never seen those. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen one or two, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
Presumably pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Same. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. I feel like I talked for like 4 hours. Don't get mad at me.
I'm mad at you.
I know.